One, two, one, two.
434.
What is going on, everybody? We have another stream, another show, and this is a kicker. So you read the title right. How did Disney destroy the MCU and Star Wars? Some people said didn't, some people did. I got some guys in the back who are going to go for blows on this one. Two of them are already squaring up and ready to go at it. So let me get the marking out of the way. Let's bring them in and let's get the gloves off and go round 1, 2, 3, up to 10. So obviously, you know the deal. You hit the like, share, subscribe. We're streaming from two platforms, Facebook and YouTube. If you want to donate, your charities, Cash App in the bottom. Hit me up. So let's get it. My two guests. Obviously, we're talking about Mouth. He is former owner of CEO, NEO, DEO, Digital Managers. He did it all of Blockbuster. Kelly the Mouth. Nope, I'm wrong. There we go. I have to figure out how to click the right button to help. Also,
So we agree that the name is the voice. It's the voice, right? Not the mouth, right?
Either one is fine. I'll remember it eventually. So let's get the next person in. Obviously, you've seen him around. He's very knowledgeable, and of course, I am talking about my boy Trey. Trey, what's up, my man?
What's up, Groomin? How you doing, man?
Not bad,
What's
not
up,
bad.
my guy?
How's it going, Trey? How you doing, buddy?
I'm okay, man. Just relaxing today, Saturday. I ain't been out of the house all day.
I hear that.
Lucky bastards. I had that life opportunity of staying home all day and just do nothing, relaxing, and just chill out. But no, some people have to work actually.
Next weekend you'll have.
Yeah. So I know you have something to say already, Kelly. So I'll let you start this out. So, what's your opinion about Disney taking over Star Wars and MCU? Free range. Take the gloves off. The first one's freebie.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You've got a company that has an agenda, and the agenda has gone from trying to be the best family entertainment to a political agenda. That's first and foremost. Secondly, you've got a company that is trying to take beloved IPs that, you know, are primarily, not completely, but primarily, if you were to take a stab at it, like Star Wars, it's a guy's genre. It's a guy's favorite, thing that they grew up with. I don't know about you, but I had a ton of Star Wars toys growing up. I didn't know any girls who had Star Wars toys, and what they do, they're trying to turn it into, you get a female Skywalker. Okay, that's fine. If you want to change that up a little bit. So all the sequels did was rehash the original series. Basically, The Force Awakens is A New Hope all over again. Mm-hmm. Rey is Luke Skywalker. All right. You take a look at Marvel. It's not the MCU anymore. It's the MCU. As they've taken, basically, you get Thor. Can't just have Thor. Now it's got to be Jane's got to become Thor. You can't have the Marvels. Captain Marvel by herself. Now we're gonna have a movie with three Marvels. That crashed and burned. You take a look at how the audiences have responded to the movies and the output over and over again. You're just seeing that the audiences who love it, the guys who drove that, and I'm not saying that there's not women out there, girls who don't love it, but it's stories that drive it, it's characters that drive it, and when agenda drives entertainment, the quality plummets and people leave.
Trey, you're up. Go ahead. What's your opinion?
I mean, he was pretty much spot on with a lot of the movements that are going to be taking place over the next 5 to 10 years. It was Luke Skywalker. It could possibly be Lakeisha Skywalker at some point. Males tend to move in male spaces. Star Wars is one of those, excuse me, it started out as one of those. I'm a young guy, I'm a young male. I can be Luke Skywalker. I could save the world. I could get me I forgot what they called those little laser swords, and I can fight off evil, and I could, that's a male motivated message. Now with America, it seems to be switching to this feminist agenda almost in every aspect. It's going to show women who are your biggest consumer, that you are the hero now. You are the savior of this space. Men, they're just men. And it's sad that it's a small group of people that okay this agenda. I feel sorry for men, young boys now. It's going to be hard to see a muscle-bound Superman flying in the sky.
You're not allowed to have a male role model anymore. The males are the reason. They're the problem. And that's the shame of it all, because while you're right, women are the primary consumers. But when it comes to entertainment, that's not the case. And I have no problems with, give me a strong female character. I have no issues. One of my favorite books, Kushiel's Dart. It's one of the greatest female characters, one of the greatest characters I've ever read. And I'm an avid reader. And the character in that is female. And it's a great character. Like, give us something original. Don't rebrand what we love already and say, well, now it's got to be a female. We got to show how, if it wasn't for men, this female would have already been, successful.
Kelly, hang on 1 second before we go on. I want to get my other two guests. Let's get Chef in here. Let's get Chef Payne. Welcome to the panel. And also, I got to get the other one. We have a president in the house. And, of course, I am talking about the president.
What's up, fellas?
Feel like I should be saluting.
No salutes necessary.
That is his theme song. He says he is the president. Actually, Paul, go ahead. Take it over.
That's right. He's the president. I'm the chef. I cook for him. I'm cooking for him. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm the sergeant at arms. I'm the sergeant of arms. So
there you go.
You know what? I need to start working on
mess.
Each one of you have the own, intro, like music, flashing lights and everything. Have you coming in like something like that? I need to start working on that. So I'm gonna make each one of you has a little unique one. I know which one I'm going to use for Payne already. I got to take that from being you.
No, don't do that. Please.
Well, salute to the panel tonight. Salute to my follically free brethren tonight. And yes, I am the president of the bold and the beautiful, the beneficent, benevolent Ball Brotherhood of the BMD Network, the 7B Club. And so good to be here with my follically free brothers tonight. And sir, you are more than welcome to join our cause, join our movement. As we choose this lifestyle because, again, without the follicles, then the thought process is coming. We take over these places here. So we get deference to that lifestyle here. Peter, I'm trying to get him to give it up, but I'll still keep the beard. I'll make a deal with you. You can keep the beard, grow the beard even longer, but give me the scalp and we'll be good.
How about I only take the sides off and leave the top on?
Well, mohawk.
I'm thinking about doing a mohawk man bun.
I could see you with a mohawk. Oh, actually, back in the day, I could definitely see you sporting a mohawk back in the day.
Oh, I have it spotted already.
Yeah.
Go in my Facebook and you see the old picture I used to have.
Oh no, really? Oh man,
yeah.
I gotta look at those.
Yeah. All right. Before we move on, Kelly, pick up where you left off, and then I have the other guys jump in. Okay.
Well, just talking about in general broad strokes in regards to Disney, their agenda. You've got some people in power. You got the Kathleen Kennedys of the world,
oh my God,
who have decided that we're going to take every male branded IP and branded a female IP. And what's the success rate been? Look at Indiana Jones, right? Now she's Lucasfilm, right? That's not Star Wars. That's not MCU, but it's still under her umbrella. And you look at what happened with Indiana Jones, where they tried to saddle Indiana Jones. Admittedly, he's 70 plus years old. Saddled him with a female ingenue who basically was the star of the film. And there's ways to do that. And what you did is you gave all of the major decisions to the female in that group, taking it. Not that the female can't be the one making decisions, but you're taking it away from the character that we've become beloved to, which is Indiana Jones. You took those traits away from Indiana Jones, gave them to the female. And then you've changed the whole dynamic of the film. If you want to see that done really well, you watch Mission Impossible 7, Dead Reckoning. They have the same setup. They have a character, a male character. That's Tom Cruise's character. You have a female ingenue who, she's very capable in the film, but you don't take away the characteristics that you love from Tom Cruise's character, Ethan Hunt. And it becomes a great film. Haley Atwell was spectacular in the film. And that's how you do a female. Yeah. You want to give those great characteristics. You just, fine, give them to them. You want to make the female the toughest person. You want to make all of a sudden the female can beat up every guy and all that. Okay, that's fine. Don't take away the characteristics from the characters we love. I mean, look at what they did to Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker, who at the end of Return of the Jedi has brought back the Jedi. He's going to create an academy and bring back the Jedi to what we saw eventually we'd see in the prequels, right? And what do we get in the sequel? Oh, he's given up because a tragedy happened. So now I'm going to go hide someplace and drink cow's milk, on an island. It's just the dumbest thing that you could possibly do. You got Han Solo and Leia. They got a great relationship. That's lots of sparks. Now, there's got to be problems. There's, the relationship's over. You get a movie where all of us guys who grew up, and girls, presumably, who grew up with Star Wars, the one thing we wanted to see in a sequel, the one thing was Han Solo reunited with Luke Skywalker. We didn't get it. You don't have that in the film. How do you not have the main characters get together? You barely have Han Solo and Leia together. Like, how do you do that? Well, that's how you destroy a series.
Okay, Payne, you want to go next? What's your opinion from Disney?
Yeah, well, I know we're talking Marvel and Disney. I mean, it's just so much to unpack. In 2002, when they brought back Spider-Man, even though Marvel didn't own it all, I owned Marvel stock at $7 a share. They were in bankruptcy. They didn't have anything going for them. And then Spider-Man came out. Even though I think Sony owned them or whatever, still had the Marvel brand. In around 3 or 4 years, they were out of debt. And they started making these movies. And I tell you, man, there was nothing. Let me just, before we get to the destruction, and I won't be that long. I tell you, Captain America and the Avengers movies were Academy Award worthy. Some of them were, especially Winter Soldier. I love that movie. I don't know how many times I've seen that. I mean, the character development, everything about it was great. I love the Black Widow. She was a woman. She was a badass, but she still was a woman. When they had great women action figures. I mean, there was no greater woman than Ripley in the Aliens. Holy shit! I mean, when she went into that tunnel to get the girl, when she lost the watch and she met the Queen, there was no better scene. Man, Ripley was a badass. I'm telling you, you didn't have to belittle men. You didn't have to do any of that stuff to make her a badass. And so when they put all these female writers in charge, they were all liberal leftists. They didn't like the original.
They don't like the original property. They say it. We don't like it. We're gonna make it. We're gonna remake it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just land it here. All I'm just trying to say is we could spend all day talking. I mean, we're gonna go blue in the face talking about this. And for Star Wars, listen, I mean, I was disappointed in all that too. Even when they remade it with Rey being the head thing, what I really got mad at was they didn't go all the way. If you was gonna, you know who I love as interest should have been? What's the black dude's name? Uh, Whatever his name
Finn.
was, huh?
Finn.
Finn.
Yeah, he should have been her love interest. They didn't have enough balls to do that because of the black-white thing. But he should have been her love interest, even from when she said, "Stop holding my hand." When they first met each other, and the way he was devoted to her, and he was just another cog in the wheel for her. And it was all bullshit. That forced kiss with the goddamn son. I mean, it was. You listen. You know what? Disney just ruined everything because of their writers and this liberal bullshit that they kept putting on. This not just liberal, but the DEI and all that kind of stuff. She-Hulk was the worst shit ever put on Marvel's name. And you know what? The one thing I liked, I'm gonna shut up on this one. The one series I did like, I kind of liked Andor. I thought Andor was pretty good. I'll land it there.
Paul.
Right. What's the question?
It's not a question.
No, I'm
more
serious.
opinion.
I'm just
What do you think about the whole Star Wars, Marvel, Star Wars in Marvel that Disney owns now? And what's your opinion up to this point? And we'll get into the questionnaires in a few minutes. I'll give you my opinion too.
That's pretty broad. I mean, obviously, I don't like the newer properties that have come out. A lot of it isn't. I don't think necessarily it's because it's women characters, or having them as the focus. I just think that the writing is bad, the stories are bad. You're trying to rewrite, or you're not in continuous, especially with Star Wars. Especially again, Lucas had 7, 8, and 9 written, but Disney said no, they didn't want that. And I thought that was actually part of the contingency why he sold Lucasfilm to Disney, was that they were going to explore those projects. And I think Kathleen Kennedy, I think she was like a broker, broker in that deal. And I don't know if it was her fault or Disney just said, no, we just want to go into a whole nother direction here. So I don't even know how much of that to lay blame on Kathleen if they decided to say, no, we're not going to use his original works. Them trying to, fashion a new character, centralizing the characters around female base. I think I agree with some of the comments earlier. I mean, you had to basically neuter Luke and Han and again, those major characters that really helped to, have the continuity. I know Anakin was supposed to have a role, and certainly in The Last Jedi, he had, like, there was like footage. I mean, there was filming where he was supposed to make appearances and whatnot, and he wasn't there. So I just think I think the fact that it was just bad writing, it wasn't conceived well, it was done by people who really weren't necessarily Star Wars fans. And I think ultimately that's what led to the demise of Star Wars. Not to say that there were women at the central, being the central characters in the in the story. I think bad is bad, and we can point to, it's women, female writers, or liberal writers, or whatever. Bad is bad, regardless of how you slice it.
I agree with you on that.
Regarding what was the other one? So there was Star Wars, and what was the other one? Oh, the Marvel,
yes,
the Marvel series. Yeah, I mean, trying to introduce some characters that you really didn't have. I think, especially for the general population, you didn't necessarily have an affinity for, because we talk about, the Marvel series that came out, or Madam Web that just bombed like terribly at the at the box office. Yeah, I think a push to develop, because even the Scarlett Johansson movie, she had her standalone film, which I didn't think was bad, but definitely they went like in another direction there, and it took years for that film. I think that film came out like 5 years after it was supposed to be released or something like that. There were so many delays with trying to get the film out. So, I just don't necessarily want to pin it on, are they trying to go in this direction? Look, are you seeing more, the sexuality of a character being emphasized in the film? I know the second Doctor Strange movie kind of alluded to that. Do people really care about that? Is it that much worth saying that we have to have non-binary types of characters in the films for them to be successful? I mean, I think that certainly the history of it proves that you're not going to lose an audience there. Now, maybe in efforts to try to gain another one, I think any company, whether it be movies or whether it be talk about like Bud Light or anything that tries to go after to try to capture more of a demographic, you always have to take care of your existing properties and your existing fan bases. When it comes to that kind of stuff. So
and that's kind of my point with the female, right? I emphasize the female aspect of it just because it's so prevalent in Marvel right now. But
right.
The point that I make in regards to that is that at the detriment of existing characters, you're giving those characters
I'm
totally to females.
I'm totally with you there.
Yeah.
But just going back now, I go back. My first real superhero that I had affinity for was Wonder Woman, because I go back to 1975.
Yeah, I watched
Linda Carter as Wonder Woman. That was my first crush. That was the first woman I fell in love with, and I was just smitten at 6 years old watching Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, who to this day is Wonder Woman.
It's still fine.
The mold has been broken. I don't care, Gail Gadot and whoever you want to throw in there. No, she was perfect. Everything. She had the look. She had the femininity. She had the power, the strength, everything. She was just, you just couldn't wait until the next week when it came on. And then when it came into the second season, when they changed the uniform, they made the uniform tighter and skimpier. They didn't have it. She didn't have those bloomers on. They had to give her a sexier suit. The next one, we were done. So I grew up with that. And also, you guys remember a lot of the graphic novels, the heavy metal magazine that featured female Valkyries and female warriors and things of that nature. So it wasn't like those things were never, that women never had a role and never felt empowered. Now, again, the bodies that they drew on them might have been, by today's standards, unrealistic, because every superhero female character just had a Barbie body, it seems like, in all these in all these things. But to show women who were strong, that they were warriors, that they were, Red Sonja back in '85, with was that Dolph Lundgren's ex or whatever?
Tanya Roberts.
No, it was that. But who was who was the one in Rocky IV? The
Bridget,
the tall one.
Bridget
Nielsen. No, Bridget Nielsen.
Bridget Nielsen.
Yeah. I mean, so we were used to that, and even in Conan the Barbarian, Valeria. Who played her? Nobody was deterred by seeing a strong yet sexy female heroine.
That's because Conan was still Conan.
Right. And nobody.
Wonder Woman. They didn't write Wonder Woman like she was Superman.
No, she, like I said, she was able to. Now, they didn't have any crossovers, Superman, like they didn't have other superheroes make a crossover in there, but it was able to be its own standalone. But I think just Linda Carter, she was fierce, but she was bubbly. She smiled. She was, she was just everything. So I don't. That's why I'm saying I don't necessarily know if it's just about the idea that more women, or the attempt to get more women to be heroines, to have movies. You even had in the '90s, you had the video game with the adventure woman. What was that? She wore these short,
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider. And I don't know, the movies weren't, but that's the thing. The movies, when they finally came out, they really weren't that good.
Yeah. It was the quality of the writing,
and that's my point. I think so. It's not to say that I don't want the narrative to be okay, they're throwing women on us to be these heroes or whatnot. No, I'm all for feminine heroes and showing them as strong and not second fiddle to people. I'm all for that, but again, the writing, and you have to really flesh it out to where you want to root for them, and not
I
it
mean,
doesn't
look
just
at
feel
look
like
at
it's
what
just been a push on you.
look at the Guardians of the Galaxy. That's how you do it well, right? There's
Yeah.
plenty of female characters in that.
Absolutely.
Great film. I mean, who didn't feel for Gamora's death? Like, nobody wanted to see that, right? You love Black Widow. You love Gamora. You love the
Look, I loved her
sister.
sister. I mean, she
Right,
was
that's what I'm saying.
like a tragic kind of figure and whatnot. But again,
but that's not how the writing is going, though. The writing is at the detriment of men. They're trying to prop up women. That's what ruins the writing.
And you don't have to do that.
That's what we're saying. I think that's what we're saying. I think we're all in agreement there. Because you absolutely don't have to do that. Let me just say this. There's a show out called Reacher. Not the Tom Cruise one, the big dude.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about on Amazon Prime, right?
Yeah.
And he got 2 women. They have their own complete agency without him belittling them as women, but they're badasses.
Yeah. So not at the detriment of him. He's badass too.
And not at the detriment of him. That's writing. That's not what they do anymore.
Yeah.
Especially Marvel and Disney has lost that.
Yeah. But even with the Marvel, I mean, the Black Panther, the Dormology. I mean, those female warriors. I mean, they were.
It was great as long as he was still alive. That's why Black Panther 2 was dead in the water.
Yeah,
they should have brought him back.
Right, but I mean, they were like his body. Yeah, I mean, they were his bodyguards. And I think it was in one of the Civil War. Yeah, in Civil War, they were like, I'm seeing these 2 tall Black African women with bodies just like crazy, right? And I'm like, who are these women, right? So again, I mean, you don't. Yeah, you can certainly have the man being the man, but your eyes go to the woman, right?
Well, see, but what I'm trying to say, though, Mr. Bennett, is the fact is I think we're in violent agreement. What I'm saying is the writing has abandoned letting men be men in the face of strong women. That's why in Black Panther 2, the only one woman who was still a woman, still appreciated her king, they killed her ass off. That's when they killed off the mother, the queen.
Angela Bassett.
Yeah. That's right. And everybody else, I mean, all they had to do was recast my man T'Challa, and everything would have been much better.
I said from the beginning.
The show would have been
a second.
Maybe not. Maybe they were pretty happy. Right. They were pretty happy to be able to go, okay, we're going to turn this into a
female vagina monologue.
Yeah. I mean, look, same thing with the Marvels. The Marvels, crashed and burned. It's a terrible film. Take a look at Agatha. I mean, it's bad.
They didn't bring Agatha. They released Agatha.
Did you? Yeah, the Coven of they've changed the name again a 4th time. But if you take a look at the character and what they've done with the character through Mouth of Mad, or I keep calling it the Mouth of Madness, the Doctor Strange movie. I mean, you gotta take a look at what they did there.
Madness.
I mean, it's just it is bad writing across the boards, but it's also agenda writing, and bad writing usually good writing starts with character. Bad writing starts with agendas.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's good.
We can all agree on that. We can definitely agree on that.
Here's my little opinion here. I might be crucified here. I don't think all of them are bad. Some of them are good once in a while. There's not top-notch movies like Captain America was the first Avengers, Winter Soldier, and so on. Some of them okay. I can see the point you guys are going with, like Thor. Yes, in a comic book, did that actually happen? Thor gets her hammer and she becomes the female Thor? Yeah, it did. But not in that exact way. Unfortunately, I know for a fact, they already announced when he passed Black Panther, they said we're not recasting for his memory. Okay, I can see how they're going to get the backlash. I'm saying, if we recast him, like, okay, we're going to get backlash. So you understand, they're in a difficult position at that point when he died.
No, they weren't. They had no trouble replacing George Reeves and Superman.
They didn't have any trouble replacing Sean Connery. How many James Bonds have there been?
Yeah, man.
How many Batmans have there been?
But the Batman and all those guys.
If they were up against the wall, if they were up against the wall there, Pete, it's because they were afraid of the politics, and therefore it's making movies once again with politics. They were afraid of the optics of that. They weren't afraid. They would have loved to have done it, but they were afraid of the optics.
The only thing I would throw out, I wouldn't put the James Bond in that category because all those guys essentially got old. You know what I'm saying?
That's where I was going.
They got old. Roger Moore, by the time what's that?
Timothy Dalton wasn't old. George Lazenby wasn't old.
But he wasn't. But Timothy, I think they went away from Bond. To me, I almost plucked those two movies out of Bond. They didn't have a Bond feel at all. I wasn't a fan of those. I was a much bigger fan of George Lazenby and Her Majesty's Secret Service. Not just
his acting's not the greatest, but it's one of the best written ones.
Yeah.
Yes, and I thought it was one of the better. I thought it was one of the better films. But I wasn't a fan of the. But I'm saying the James Bond though wasn't like they killed him off. These guys just got old. I mean, by I think Roger Moore by 85. What was the last one? Not
A View to a Kill.
A View to a Kill. He was old. It was over. You knew you kind of had to go. Bond is typically a guy like in his late 30s, early 40s, or whatever. Once these guys hit 55 and whatnot, it's not because when Sean Connery did Never Say Never Again, you could tell he had the toupee on and whatnot. He just
and that was the joke of the title.
Exactly. So I think that one I wouldn't just put that in with the others because I mean you got to replace the Bond you have your 8-year run with the movies basically and then you got to get a new guy.
What they did with the Bonds though, how they got caught up with this cancel culture is they stopped making him into a lover, a ladies' man. They even intimated Bond being gay in one of the goddamn.
Well, and if you watch even the Daniel Craig, the Daniel Craig series, which was I thought really really well done. The last movie, what are they doing? They're trying to set up. They've actually given 007 to a female African American woman that to set her up as the next Bond.
She's British.
That's
and it's just not going to happen. That movie's not
what's your name?
By the way, but she's not. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What's your name, my man?
But I hear you though. I hear you.
His name is
and
Kelly.
Again, but they made him again. You make him a father, right? He's going to be dad. So James Bond is going to be taking his girl to school, and giving her lunchbox and stuff. I mean, it's. At that point, he kind of had to.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hang on.
You don't know. Say your name again. The one next to me up there.
Kelly.
Okay.
All right, guys.
That's ironic. I've got a nice girl's name.
It's not Sue.
Gender neutral.
It's not Sue, so don't worry about it.
Gender neutral.
Guys, hang on.
This is all men.
Hang on 1 second. Do me a
We've
favor.
gone way off topic here, so
Everybody.
Peter put us back on schedule.
All right, guys.
Pete.
Do me a favor. One at a time, please, because you guys are talking to each other, and now he's getting mumbled. And
I'm sorry.
Show everybody, equal respect. So I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying just keep that in mind. Okay, so
Kelly, how old are you? Kelly,
I don't think he heard you.
I can't hear him.
Y'all can't hear me?
What was that?
I can hear you. Hey, Kelly, he wanted to know how old you are.
Oh, I didn't hear that question. No.
Well, keep
I'm
your
having
mic
some
off.
buffering issues.
Okay.
I'm 55.
Oh, yeah. See, he around our age. So, Kelly, where you grow up at? What part of the country? This like area?
Yeah, I think you'll have a connection issue.
Is that
Just want to know what area you grew up in.
I'm not hearing Pete at all. Where did I grow up?
Yes.
Yeah,
Like what part of the country? Yeah. What part of the country? You only got to tell me where from. This what part?
He's buffering. I don't hear him.
He's asking
what part of the country, general location.
Oh, East Coast. I also grew up. I spent some time in Texas as well.
Oh, okay. So you've been writing since you was a kid?
Trey Ferg, is Trey Ferg still with us?
Yeah, that's me.
I see him.
I'm talking.
I can hear Trey Ferg, but I think you're having trouble hearing you, Trey Ferg.
Oh, I see. I ain't know that, RK. I'm glad you translated because I'm like, man, they can't hear me.
You might have to go out and come back in.
Yeah, try that because on my side you seem fine, But for some reason, when I transition to streaming to anybody else, you have an issue. So
I can
come
hear
back
you,
in.
but the rest of them can't hear you that well. So
I can hear
I can
fine,
hear you
but-
now, Pete.
Okay, so
Okay.
try now,
You
Trey.
go out and come back in. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, raise your hand if you can hear him. No? All right, yeah, go back in, come in.
All right.
All right. I was saying my original statement was, I don't think all the movies are bad. I think there's some good ones and some bad ones. Same thing with the show. I think some of the good show. Well, Star Wars, I got some beef there. J.J. Abrams said when he did the Star Wars, he took New Hope as reference, meaning he didn't write it. My second beef with Star Wars with Disney is, like everybody else said, they had the script in their hands, already written, already everything. Their excuse was the actors were too old. Give me some better bullshit than that. I think they should have gotten the original script. I read clips and pieces about it. Rumor I'm hearing Lucas is trying to buy Lucasfilms back from Disney right now. But I don't think he's going to ever be able to afford it, personally. Or ever to win that fight. That's a rumor. But with Marvel almost went bankrupt. And we all knew that at one point. Spider-Man saved their asses. I don't care how you cut it. Maybe you didn't like it for Spider-Man. I'll give you that. I agree on that. I don't think the first one was the greatest. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I didn't like some parts of it. Spider-Man 3, I think, was horrible, personally. I didn't like it at all. Again, that's my personal opinion. My favorite Spider-Man 3 was Amazing Spider-Man. Again, I know people who hate that Spider-Man. It was too grungy. I think Paul said that to me on one stream. You think it was too grungy, right, Paul?
Yeah. I wasn't as much of a fan, and I think a lot of people didn't like, again, the suit, the first suit. That's why they went more to a more Spidey looking suit in the Amazing Spider-Man, the sequel of it. So yeah, I thought he was a bit too. He was like, and I think what's also happened with a lot of characters just in general. And again, I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but it's like the characters seem to have more, shall we say, like emotional issues. Like this, like he had like mental issues. Like even you were talking about Thor earlier, right? The last Thor movie. I mean, it's like Thor was like he needed counseling. You know what I mean? I mean, this is like the God of Thunder, but he's like he needs to go to a therapist or something like that because he's having problems with, just being Thor or whatever.
To be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, so I think a lot of I just thought that Peter from that series was a little bit too emotional or too too much, like I said, the grunge guy, where Peter's supposed to be this kind of happy-go-lucky man. I thought the last guy's cast of Spider-Man, I thought he was perfect. I mean, the kid is I thought he's really captured.
I'm not disagreeing one bit with that.
Yeah,
I think that the Amazing is better. Personal opinion. You're like arguing yellow, tomato kind of thing at this point.
Right.
But here's my first question for everybody. So, how would you explain Disney after buying Marvel and Star Wars? The direction of the storytelling, has it changed? Obviously, we said it would change, but how would you personally feel the franchise direction is going?
Who you want to go first? Maybe you should pick us.
Mouth, go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go
Can you
ahead.
hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can now. Yep.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Sounds better.
All right. Okay. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
How's it
All
going?
Doing all right.
Yeah, I was just asking Kelly some questions, about where he grew up at. And I know he said Texas and up north a little bit. He's 55. That's what I got, right?
Yep.
55, primarily the East Coast, but I had
Okay.
family in Texas. When I was
What part of Texas? What part?
Dallas.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with Dallas. I was down in Fort Hood for 3 years,
Oh,
Waco,
yeah.
Houston, Austin. Yeah. So I'm just saying, as far as, and you've been a writer for a long time, right?
I'm sorry.
Have you been a writer? Do you write?
Just my own stuff. Yeah, it's not
Oh, okay.
not professional at all.
So a little background for everybody who doesn't know Kelly personally, like I do. He used to work for Blockbuster. I joke around calling him he's a CEO of Blockbuster, but you tell him any movie series, anything, pop culture, I guess, Kelly, right? You know what I'm saying? You know it pretty much.
I would say I have some gaps, but primarily, yeah. I mean, I worked for Blockbuster for 20 years. I was a district manager, amongst other things. I started with them because I loved movies. I was already a movie geek. And
Right.
then I grew up, working for Blockbuster.
So-
I think I was at the last Blockbuster store right in Elizabeth, New Jersey, man. I was right
There
around.
was one that was
Elizabeth.
still
Yeah, it
hanging
was
out
right
there.
there, man. They
So,
closed
Yeah.
it.
Willie, I just want
Elizabeth
to
for
ask
5
Kelly
years.
a couple
Wow.
questions. It can be later. I just want to, ask him a couple questions about some writing and stuff, and based off what he said, the character and the agenda. We can
Well,
do that later, though.
It's
Let's do that
interesting.
later.
One of the things that was said earlier was the fact that if you look at Thor and how Thor's got his problems, and if you look at the Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man, how he had so emotional, writing, that's part of the problem when you've got people writing characters that they don't understand and don't know, but they're using Hollywood script writing 101. You have to have a conflict for the character, and the character has to have an arc. So
Mhm.
you can't have an idealized version of a character, and when you're dealing with superheroes, you are dealing with idealized versions. Some of the problems that they have with Superman, bringing him to light, is the fact that they're trying to give him these issues and making him so much more complex and convoluted than the purity that was always what Superman, the one character in comics who was more of a pure essence, if you will. That's part of the problem. So they're gonna create this drama for us, but you have to have the main essence of the characters coming through. And just because you do that doesn't mean that you can't do it. Look at Tony Stark. Tony Stark's a great character who they took. He's an alcoholic in the comics.
Right.
They brought him to film. Let the fact that he was afraid that he was going to fail and that people were going to die because of him, let that be his alcoholism. Right. And you had a great character arc there. I mean, it ends with an Endgame. You don't have a better movie than Endgame, culminating 10 years of great films. And you had lots of wonderful characters, lots of great female characters throughout that.
Right.
See,
But
Kelly,
how
here's a
much of
question
that
for you
would you-
now. A lot of people say Endgame was one of the worst ones because how they ended it. They shouldn't have ended it like that.
Look at the box office for that. It was the
Right.
top
Those weren't
top
Marvel
movie
fans.
of all time for
Those weren't Marvel fans.
Right.
And there was no Marvel
That's
fans.
because what they do with the Black Panther. That's because it went down. You can't get rid of the Black Panther. He's a vital part. He's a beast out there saving the world. That's
Well,
Hey, Schaefer,
now we have a female Black
repeat
Panther.
your question to
No,
everybody.
that ain't. Listen, that don't work. Look, you said that there's an agenda and there's a character. As far as an agenda, that don't work for black men. No, that's not no, that doesn't work, man. I don't stand for it. The hell with that shit. Put Brother Bennett, put somebody young, 23, 24, put them in that role. But that's the agenda, though. Would you agree that that's an agenda? Come on, this thing, yes or no? There you go.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
why don't you repeat your question, Pete?
All right, let's get back on topic. Kelly, I want you to take this one first because I know you have something to say always. I know you by now.
Sorry.
Ever since, no, nothing bad, dude. That's why I have you here. I'm like, ever since Disney took over ownership of Marvel and Disney, their storytelling after their purchase of it, how would you think the franchise has changed?
Well, it's who's in control, right? So you have Marvel. Kevin Feige was in control. Kevin Feige was the gatekeeper for storytelling. As they expand that, he can't be the gatekeeper for everything. And then you have other people who are put in charge, right? Feige's no longer the ultimate say at Marvel, no matter what they try to present. You have Kathleen Kennedy, who was actually Lucas's. She was handpicked by Lucas, supposedly, because she was a producer on the Indiana Jones films, on the Star Wars. Like, she's a producer. She was with Amblin Films. Like, if you go back and watch those old films, you're going to see her name all over the place. She was a producer. But somewhere along the way, once again, you take a property and you want to make it your own. It's got to be mine. And so that's where you get these writers who don't like the property. They're trying to create their own vision of the property instead of working with what works. And there's tons of great source material out there from comics, from novelizations, etc. And what Lucasfilm had, what Disney had from Lucas was the entire outline of 7, 8, 9.
Yep.
It wasn't completed scripts, but it was a completed outline of where the entire story goes. And it was a Jedi Academy. It was already set up. You had a General Solo who was an active and a force to be reckoned with, because by that time he had grown so much. So instead of us needing to see Solo broken and then dying, you had a character who was like, okay, this is where we left him. Now we come back and look at how much he's grown. Let's learn about him. It's a bit better storytelling for the characters that you love. And they just don't love these characters. That's it. Look what they did to Boba Fett. Look what they did to Boba Fett. If you watch the TV show, the Book of Boba Fett,
that was horrible.
You had someone at the end of Mandalorian season 1. You had somebody who loved Boba Fett, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. They love Boba Fett. What does Boba Fett do? He kicks the guy out of the throne, sits down, and takes over. Then you have somebody else. Ostensibly, they were involved, but Kathleen Kennedy, who was making sure that what she wanted, there's a big fight there between Favreau and Kennedy. It's well documented. And you get this lovable rascal who is now the Boba Fett. That's not the character any of us wanted. That's not the character who put Han Solo in carbonite.
Mm-hmm. Ken, let me ask you a question, because you may know the answer to this. So after the next movie, after the Return of the Jedi, how many years were supposed to be 2 different movies in the Star Wars town line? It was like a 4-year gap, 5-year gap.
Well, the problem was that Lucas was so exhausted. He didn't feel like he could do it for a while, and he felt the technology wasn't there. He thought 7 to 8 years was when they were going to pick it back up, and obviously that wasn't the case.
He was burned out pretty much. Yeah. Payne, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Listen, if you're talking about the transition, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if it's a woman. All the women that they put in charge are liberal, and they all want to show, I am woman, I am strong, and they destroy men in their process. That's all the new movies. So in order for a woman to be propped up in these new movies with women who are in charge, it's the same thing with the Delvin Mulroney shit with the Bud Light. They have this DEI kind of thing. They have all this kind of stuff. And in order for women to look strong, they got to cut the balls off of men in all of these shows. And the only show that I have to go back to that I love was WandaVision. I love that show. I must have seen that damn series 100 times, because as far as I'm concerned, I thought it was one of the best origin stories for the Scarlet Witch ever. Because if you remember, in all the Marvel shows, they never called her the real Scarlet Witch. But in that show, when Agatha had on those chains and she says, you want to make all your magic to make eggs for breakfast and shit, she said, you're the Scarlet Witch. I said, man, I just thought that transition was great. But when she went into the movies, then it got kind of questionable. But I thought that was one of the best Marvel series under this new regime. As far as I was concerned, I thought that was really, really good. Maybe I'm on an island by myself, but the rest of them, oh my God, man! Hawkeye. Have you ever seen a man whose name is on a show and he gets his ass kicked by every woman on the show? Hawkeye. Every freaking woman kicked his ass on the show. And it was like a bait and switch shit, right? In the old Netflix Daredevil, Kingpin was the greatest villain ever made. They took one episode to cut his ball off by a 17-year-old girl. These shits, I don't know. You can't unsee it. You just can't unsee it. Daredevil with the walk of shame.
Right. Right.
He gets some ass from a girl who's fucking everybody who's walking around, right? And that's supposed to be female empowerment, right? She's having sex with everybody she can find because she's just horny. And then, he's doing a walk of shit with barefoot and all this. I'm just saying, that's old woman shit. And then She-Hulk, okay? I'm going to end it on this one. When she tells she tells the Hulk that she has anger issues. She says, men are going to try to kill me. I'm always angry. She's talking to the goddamn Hulk. You know, nobody knows anger better than the Hulk. And even though they changed the origin stories from the fact that she took some of his blood to become strong, you know, and she was supposed to be a lawyer going after the people who wronged her, and she was supposed to be badass. They turned her into this liberal bitch. I mean, let me just tell you, man. And then they had some fucking rapper twerking on the shit. Listen, man, I'm just done. You hear me? I'm done.
Payne, I think you have a thing for She-Hulk. You brought her up so many times so far.
It was the worst show. I mean, if you a man, they were slapping us in the face at every goddamn turn. Even when they showed the Hulk's son, he came out looking like a pansy. I'm sorry. You know what, man? At the end, he came out and said, come on. You know, listen, I just... Okay, just stop me from talking, please, before I say something.
All right.
Kicked off of YouTube.
Paul, go ahead.
I'm done. I'm landing it right there.
All right. So, what specifically we
the storyline, how Disney after taking over, how Disney has gone with the franchise.
No, so, well, I think Kelly made the earlier point. I mean, what's unique about these properties is, again, there is original material. There is decades of original materials that you can draw stories from. I mean, the blueprint was out there. So why Disney decided to go away from that and have, you know, new origin stories, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. People have waited their whole lives to see these characters fleshed out in reality. I mean, we all in our minds have had our own conceptions of what we used to, growing up, we used to say, who could play this particular character? You know, I remember friends, we used to talk about X-Men, who could play Storm. I had that Ethiopian model that was Storm for like the longest time. Iman. I thought she would have been the perfect Storm. Patrick Stewart, I think everybody decided after we saw Star Trek Next Generation, he was going to be the perfect Patrick Stewart. And we just went down the line. Mel Gibson to play Wolverine. You know, we just had all of these guys and gals who were like, you know, who could play these things. So the fact that you already had source material and graphic novels and all these stories, and you've seen it fleshed out in some things. I know in the Wolverine series, you had when he went to Japan, they did some of that, you know, from his Ronin days when he was in Japan. So again, there's material that you can use and go with, but people just want to go totally left and not try to flesh out and try to bring these stories into a live action. Because I get there is a transition you have to do there. They just chose not to do it. So I think that's really an issue for people who don't have, again, the passion for comic books, the passion for the history. You know, they're the caretakers of the properties. Who are these people that have no connection, and they just try to bring things into certainly a 21st century concept? And yes, I mean, some of the some of the stuff back in the 70s or 80s or whatever, was it chauvinistic? I don't know. I mean, I don't think it necessarily dissuaded certainly didn't dissuade male viewers. And again, if I didn't know too many women who were as much into comic books as we were, but certainly seeing strong people on film certainly brings a lot of women to the film. A lot of it just had to do with casting. Oh, he's going to be so and so. Oh, I'm going. You know, because of the strength of the character. Kelly, you were talking about how they fleshed out Tony Stark's character. Honestly, I think half of that was Robert Downey Jr. Like, I don't see who else could have played him, because he had a history that was similar. He battled substance abuse and whatnot back in the day. So I think a lot of Tony Stark was simply just Robert being Robert, and it just sort of fleshed out on screen. I don't think you can teach that.
Funny fact, Paul, is like they were thinking about using Tom Cruise originally for Tony Cruise. They
did the right thing. They did the right thing, man.
Right.
He was perfect.
And even the Tom Cruise things, I kind of lost, so much like the MI series. I was with again a couple of them at the beginning, but when I think Payne, you mentioned Jack Reacher earlier. I mean, again, Tom Cruise is like 5'6", 5'7", and he's beating up gangs of people like he's just like this invincible guy or whatever. And so it kind of loses some credibility after a while. It's like even in pro wrestling. I mean, when they started having the Rey Mysterios beating the 300-pound wrestlers or whatnot, I'm like, oh man, come on. I mean, it's hard in your mind if you want to escape reality a little bit for these little guys to be beating up these monster guys. It just doesn't.
No, I get what you're saying. I agree 100%. Trey, go for it, my man.
I mean, it's, just listening to these stories, from a unique perspective of growing up in the 80s. We talked about Wonder Woman, that's part of the dynamic because Steve Austin, the $6 million man, was my man, and, they all even, had those internal conflicts in a sense, but they all had a positive ending to the story. They were either saving their life or just, doing something good for the whole. I think the writing has to continue in the same thing today. It's going to be a little scary out there in the writing over the future, man. The messages are going to be mixed all over. Ain't going to be no good character writing. It's just going to be pretty much agenda writing, which is going to hurt. Man, it should go hurt the growth of America for real. That's the way I see it, Right. It's going to make even, the working class is just going to be like, what do you want? You ain't gonna want to go see nothing at the movies because it's no escape. It's bringing too much real life into the place where a movie used to be. When you leave out of there, I'm the fucking hero. I can do some of this, but it's just the different aspiration. It's I don't know. It's sad, man.
But you just sparked something in me. I mean, this. People want to talk women's empowerment, but look at like the 70s, man. Like I mentioned Wonder Woman. You just sparked another one. The Bionic Woman.
Yeah.
I love that every week.
Yeah.
Then you had Police Woman. Remember Angie Dickinson? Fly.
Man,
that was another one.
But that's part of the that's part of the female agenda, which I ain't mad at that.
I'm saying back then you had these feminine women, but they kick butt every week. They beat up guys every week. And nobody had a problem with it back then. So why is it now that they can't seem to flesh out again? I think part of it's the casting. I think again, Lindsay Wagner, she had the perfect mix. I mean, Linda Carter. I mean, all these. So again, who you get to play these people, I think, is as important. That again,
Brother Bennett, I don't think it's really nothing have to do with casting on the male or the female side. I think, like he said, the writing, the character writing, to show these internal things, despite of what it is. Some of it can be of what we actually go through. Some of it shit can be futuristic, but you still have the success of the day. You can plug any one of these women who has the right body and fit to play the role. Even on the man
show. Any of you guys watching Equalizer?
Any on the man?
I buzzed you for a reason there, Trey.
I thought you were finished. I mean,
no, hang on a second.
I'm gonna switch over to the man side because even on the man side, if you look at what even been discussed, Will Smith played a similar character in Hancock. It's always, you can plug anybody into these ongoing series types as long as they have the fit and the build and they can play the role of, or the script. All of it will be good writing, but you just have to be more fair in the writing. And even in America, the writing, I'm going to tell you, and this is me, and I ain't going to say a whole bunch of lot else. America has to include the young black male as being a superhero sometime too. We can't just be out there selling drugs because we do different stuff now. It's business. We trying to be business and don't push the women out there in their underwear. The writing will grow because there's a lot of good young writers out there, especially African American. Just give them a shot because America's different. They're going to be pushing more of this. The men going to be wearing more dresses and it's going to be scary, man. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I believe men should be men and women should be women. It'll work for everybody because I love the 70s shows. Hell, I even love Good Times and Sanford and Son. It's just all part of the human development and growth. They just got to stop pushing these scary agendas because it ain't helping. Ain't nobody going to the movies For what? Ain't really good writing out there. It's just a whole bunch of agenda.
So
Politics got to just regulate it.
Trey, here's my pushback with you now. I don't think it's just plugging anybody in. Anybody can pick the role. I think you have to find the right actor and the right script. I think it's a combination of both, one and the other. If you don't bring back, and Kelly, please jump in. I know you're my expert tonight, so I'm gonna refer to you a lot. If you don't, let's say you pick RGK, who plays Tony. If it was Tom Cruise, for example, I don't think he would have the same success. Nowhere near.
Well, keep in mind the reason you have to keep in mind Hollywood's thought process, right? Because we look at the MCU now as this incredibly successful blueprint for how to have an interconnected universe. When they made Iron Man, and keep in mind, why did they make Iron Man? They made Iron Man because they did not own the rights to their most popular characters, the X-Men and Spider-Man. Everybody else is a second-tier character. I don't care what you say. You might have a little less second-tier, like a Captain America. Certainly, Iron Man has become very popular because of the movies. But when they made the movie, it was a risk. And Marvel had it bombed, and this was the summer that Dark Knight came out and was this incredible, colossus at the movie theaters. If this movie had failed, that would have been the end of Marvel's movie-making abilities because they were that close when they made the film. So,
can I also just interject one thing?
Yeah.
You also had the bombing, and this was probably, I may disagree, this might have been the most popular character. The Hulk movie, the first one bombed.
And the second one.
It wasn't.
So they were already in trouble. So with that movie bombing, and the second Hulk movie didn't do that well either. But I think Iron Man came out first.
But that movie was not a Marvel by itself. It was a co-production. This was the first movie. Iron Man was the first solely produced by Marvel film.
Right.
So when they were, putting the cast together, you had, Robert Downey Jr., who was a former drug addict, and nobody was giving him a second chance. And for the producers of the film, God bless him, Jon Favreau, he was like, he's the guy. He is the guy. And thank God that was the decision. But that's the reason why the studio execs were like, well, we need a bankable star. We need a Tom Cruise. And I can't remember the other person that they had recommended. It was the same trouble getting Chris Evans to be Captain America. Oh, he was Johnny Storm already in Fantastic Four. Can't have that. And who could think of a different person than that? So you can interject other actors into roles. Tom Selleck was supposed to be the original Indiana Jones. Nobody could think of Harrison Ford not being Indiana Jones at this point. Originally, it was Tom Selleck. So, but would the movie transcend? Would it become something more than just a film? That's the key. When you have the perfect marriage of production, actor, and writing, that's when you get that true movie magic. It's interesting. Right now, there's a TV series based on the most popular manga book out there. It's called One Piece. It's on Netflix.
I heard of it.
And now here's the thing about it. You may or may not like manga. You may not like anime. That's fine. But when you watch this live action version of One Piece, it is a live action version of it. It's not only a comic, but they have 1,000 animated episodes of this thing. That's how popular it is. And the producers who produced this series are the same ones who produced Cowboy Bebop. Now, when Cowboy Bebop came out a couple of years ago, a lot of people didn't like it because it wasn't really like Cowboy Bebop. So I just heard an interview the other day from the producers where they were like, and I can't believe I heard a Hollywood producer saying these words. We realized that when people come to these to see favorite characters, they want to see the characters as they are supposed to be. And so they've created this One Piece. It's a crazy show. Whether or not you like it or not, you can't argue the fact that it is absolutely faithful to the original. And it's become the most popular streaming show on Netflix. Why? Because you delivered the characters as they're expected. There's no problems. There's no, I've got to come up with an agenda, come up with a reason why this guy can't be this guy. We're delivering the characters as they're known.
Yeah, but see, that's a simple formula, right? And the
You would
reason
think.
why they don't do that is because of all the other bullshit that they try to add to it. Right? Just give the people what they want. That's where Disney and Marvel, I mean, when we sum it all up, that's where
Start
Disney
writing with
and Marvel
agendas.
just give people what they want. And listen, all these action shit, it's men. It's men, period, especially white men. They don't want to go to goddamn movies to see women beat the shit out of them all goddamn day long. Right? I mean, you know, I don't even need, as far as I'm concerned, you give me a good script. I used to like the whole Lord of the Rings series before they put that bullshit on Prime. I didn't give a shit there was no black characters in there. Just give me a good goddamn story. I mean, I didn't need a black hobbit. You know,
Right.
I read the books when I was a kid. Even back then, I knew these people weren't black people, but the story was
universal. It was human.
Yeah. So what
the
I'm
story
saying
was
is,
universal and human.
Yeah. So when we start to try to fix shit to be inclusive and all that which supersedes the storyline, that's where we make a mistake. Swapping characters and all this. If you want a black character, make up a new one.
Right.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that.
If you want a gay character, make up a new one.
But I think
that's what I'm saying. Don't make Superman into a black character or a gay one. Just make a new character.
Make a great Black Panther movie. You saw what happens.
Homeboy Panther. He can be it can be a whole new character. But
Homeboy Panther.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, as far as the
hang on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, if you guys remember the reboot of Fantastic Four, Johnny Storm, the whole family was, you know, they were white dudes. You know, two of them were scientists. One was a bulky juice head, and the other one's a playboy. So they made. I don't know how this makes sense. Johnny Storm, Black, and Storm adopted. Don't ask how that's probably.
Yeah, they went. Yeah,
they went too far.
Horrible.
I liked the action pack of it, but the storyline was horrible.
Everything was horrible
because the story starts with agenda.
Exactly. That's why I want to bring that up. That's why people.
Well, I don't know. Well, see that's why. As far as the agenda, I think a lot of times with these studios, the agenda is money. Because Michael B. Jordan was like a budding star. They're like, who can we? The studio's perspective is, who can we put in the movie that's making bank at the time? And so, yeah, we want Michael B. because he's like the hottest thing going. How can we write him in? Okay, fine, he's adopted. So I think the way they think is, they think it's about the actor.
But it's not about
who's the it character at the time, not so much. So I think that's more so that's what I'm saying. That's the agenda, not to say we have to make people like black characters. So it's about who they can put in that is going to make money. But that's why.
It's not about the money. If you standing on $1 billion franchise that's based on canon, all of this bullshit is not about the money. It's about trying to appease people who are not even fans.
You got to keep
we made this. And I'm not saying
you're not totally wrong,
but yeah,
about the agenda. Always time.
But remember the timing regarding Fantastic Four. You had Black Panther come out, and it was a phenomenon because for the first time, you had a movie that was canon, it was correct, and it was black. It was black from the top to the bottom. Everything. Wakanda, everything.
And one more thing. Killmonger stole the movie.
But he's a great character.
I can't. But that's what I'm saying. I can't tell you how many young black teens were saying Killmonger was right. That was like a big debate. Who was right? Was it Black Panther or Killmonger? He stole the movie. The hey auntie line. That was the line of the movie. He stole the movie with that. So again, I'm saying, so you got this.
So you have this juggernaut that happens, right?
Yeah. Yes. Right.
And then they start working on Fantastic Four. How do we get this huge black audience that we didn't know we had before?
That's what I'm saying.
How do we get them in? We've got. So it wasn't about Michael B. Jordan's a budding star, and we want the best budding star to be in Fantastic Four. No, it was who is the best budding black star.
And that was
how do we get them in?
Because they didn't need to do that. Because that's another thing. Let me just say this.
Make a good movie.
Real quick. They keep underestimate the intelligence of the black audience.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
We were 100% behind Marvel if there was no black characters. When they gave us Black Panther, it not only surprised black people, it surprised everybody. But they didn't need to go overboard to try to give us another black guy in the Four. We didn't need that. We know the Fantastic Four is all white characters. Just give me a good show. And that's, everybody tries to correct black shit for black people when we don't even ask for it.
Right.
We don't ask for that.
They bought in, although we had the king save the day in the first one, then they come right back and take him out, and he can't. I mean, and even the third man. Listen, man, that's all we need, my man. Kelly, man, talk to your connects, man. See if they can get some young black talented writers.
We want you, Kelly. It's your fault, goddammit.
Get some of these young writers in here, man. I like the way the vision. To just give them a chance to open up and be honest about the writing, because there's some good artists out there that create dynamic future material, because it has to be inclusive, has to be clean. We don't mind the drama in it because we all go through a little drama, but just let some brothers and sisters be the heroes at the end. That's all.
All right, before we
Kelly,
move on,
I wanted
let's
to the point that
acknowledge
you
our chat really fast. We have Stacy, our unofficial cheerleader. We got my brother, Lost in Translations, in the house. Of course, we have one of my old friends. What's going on? Wife is in the house too. Well, she's blowing up the chat. And Lady is in the house. Hope you're doing better. I hope you recovered well. I hope you truly good. So, and the last thing she had to say, let's finish this up, and then we'll get back to it. They're already going at it in the chat tonight. Ooh, I like that spiciness. Okay, so my next question for tonight is, where was I? Okay, name at least one good successful movie that Disney made after taking over Star Wars and Marvel.
From those franchises?
Yeah.
In other words, what's our favorite thing that they've made?
I guess you can call it that. The question here is successful. Like, which one do you think it did best? It could be. Okay, let me change it around.
I got one.
Go ahead.
The Andor series, probably.
I thought you said DC.
No, I said Marvel.
Oh, okay. I love Andor's. I love Andor. I thought that was really good.
It was the same the guy who directed Rogue One, which was a very good Star Wars movie.
Oh my god!
Why did you mention Rogue One?
Oh my god!
He's the same guy. He's the same guy who was the showrunner and wrote Andor. It's it's the same character.
Right, that's right.
And that's, once again, why is it better than some of this other stuff? It's because you had the actual real writer who was working, who gave you a beloved property that then gave you more of a beloved property.
Okay, how many times did you guys watch Rogue One? I can't.
I lost count.
Certainly
the end. I played the ending at YouTube probably hundreds of times. Vader on the on the ship was just that was like the biggest old bleep moment I can remember in like movie. The only thing that might have rivaled that was probably Planet of the Apes, 1968, with the Statue of Liberty at the end. That was like a oh my gosh moment, And I could probably name 5 of those oh my gosh moments in film history. Winter Soldier, when you had Dr. Zola in the computer lab, that was like an oh snap mo. So there's very few of those that really resonate with you like that, and that was clearly one of them. The reveal at the end with Vader and that just did it. That just did it. But the guy was also working. He knew he had to land. To your point, Kelly. He had to land before episode 4. All the other stuff you want to write and all that stuff, that's all fine and dead. But I gotta land this plane where it's a seamless to part 4.
And those characters, they can't be people that we know from part 4 because
That's
they have
right.
to die.
That's right.
They have to because we
Right.
don't know them. I will say one other thing that I think that they did pretty well. And this is maybe fan service, but I kind of dug. Like I liked Mandalorian season 1.
Shut up.
I liked seeing Luke as Luke back, 5 years from Return of the Jedi. I like to see the gloved hand. I like to see that scene where he came in at the end.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
But why was it that I liked it? It's because you gave me Luke Skywalker being Luke Skywalker.
That's awesome.
Like that's what you expect. That's
Kelly,
what you want.
I agree with that. And I also have another one for you guys. The other one that I was arguing with somebody named Pop Culture Warrior. Shout out to him. We were having disagreement for about a good year before the movie got dropped about Spider-Man showing him. He goes, "It's not gonna happen." Yada yada. When I was right, and I was right on that one, it was like, what the fuck moment to me.
Which moment?
When all 3 Spider-Mans were there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but keep in mind, that's not Marvel. That's Sony. Now, granted, it's Marvel and Sony distribution. It's probably more Marvel than anything else. I'll agree with you 100%, actually. I take that back. That's probably the best thing that they've done, and it's been in works for a very long time. But
Dude,
that's
you know how
the best
hard
thing.
is it to keep that under wraps because the new Spider-Man has a big mouth and he likes leaking everything. Yeah, he's known like he's at a movie theater, he's giving interviews like, and he's like, what? Dude, shut up, man! You can't say that. And, like he has a big mouth, so it was the hardest thing for him to keep his mouth shut because they
What
said
did you guys think of the Anakin? I'm sorry, the Obi-Wan series.
Hated it.
I actually like you. Really
Hated it. And here's the thing. Once again, what are you starting with? You're starting with Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is ostracized. He's terrified. He can't use the Force powers because he's so screwed up in his own head. I mean, now, that's not to say that when he finally, and the moments of having Anakin in the series, time has healed some wounds from the prequels. That was nice. I did like to see him. I like to see Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fighting. But as a whole, what did you give us? Not only did you give us the female protagonist, but it's a female kid on top of it. Like,
right.
and like when you write kids really, really well, it can be really terrific. The Home Alone series, the first movie is a prime example. You write a kid really well. Christmas Story, write a kid really, really well. It's a great film. But when you write kid and some of Obi-Wan, Leia was written okay, but for the most part, she was written 5 years older than she was. And once again, it was Obi-Wan constantly not being able to fight, not being able to do this, not being able to do that. That's not Obi-Wan. That's the thing. You just gave us a character. We had to watch the whole series to get to the point where Obi-Wan acted like Obi-Wan.
See,
so no need for a season 2 then.
Oh, there's going to be a season 2. There's going to be a season 2. But
okay,
no,
hang on, Kelly. I agree and disagree. Some of the stuff, like, yeah, he had a little PTSD after what happened. Okay, I'll give him this, like, he's human too, right? One thing I did not like about it, when they brought Anakin back, is that he was so old, you can see the wrinkles in his face.
Yeah.
And that kind of took it out.
They didn't de-age him.
Yeah, they should have. So we have a question in the chat from Wife. Is Hellboy Marvel DC? I believe is Marvel. I'm not mistaken.
I don't think it's either. Actually, is it? Is it?
I'm gonna look
is
up.
It DC?
Give me a second. I'll look it up right now.
I think it's DC.
Yeah.
Is it?
Wait, God damn it! CQ, where are you when I need you?
I don't know why I thought it was Dark Horse, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
I think you actually
that could be true too. I don't think it's Marvel though.
It's not. I don't think it's Marvel at all. There's no way it's Marvel. But I'd be surprised if it's DC. I don't know.
I'm looking at it right now. Give me a second. Who's next? Go ahead until I find this. Nobody? Anybody?
Not a part of
It's
Marvel.
it's Dark Horse. It's Dark Horse.
It is Dark Horse. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what
it
I
is.
thought.
He's right. I found it right here.
Yeah.
All right, so there's your answer, wife. Is it dark? Hey, that's a good example, actually. I want to give you that for example as a bad movie, good movie. The first Hellboy, I liked a lot. The new one, the reboot, I think it sucked.
I didn't see the second one. I thought the first one was likable. Hellboy 2.
Okay.
Hellboy 2 kind of made me not want to watch the reboot. Because that's actually that's the third Hellboy movie. So.
Right. When was because again, I'm assuming you're not just saying movies, you're saying series in general. The what's that? The Power Man. What was the one with the brother who had he was like indestructible? Did you guys like that one?
Luke Cage, you talking about?
Luke Cage.
That was Netflix, and that was prior to the DC ownership.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, good stuff.
I think.
Yeah,
when did I know Disney bought Lucasfilm in 2003, 2004, something like that? When did the Marvel deal take place? That's what's going on my timeline.
Marvel, I don't remember the exact dates, but I will tell you that
was it
Marvel,
in the 2010s or was it like
It was in the 2010s or something like that.
Yeah, I would say it's
Because
2010.
they bought Marvel stock. They bought the company at like 50,
Okay, hang
I
on.
think it
Marvel
was
bought
$57
DC
a
in December 31st, 2009 for about
But
$4 billion.
Keep in mind the Netflix series, although it was Marvel characters, it was primarily a Netflix produced series. So it wasn't part of Marvel's cinematic wing, and that's why they took so long for them to incorporate Charlie Cox as Daredevil officially in the MCU. And it's also part of the reason why people were so excited when they did, because Daredevil, that first season is arguably one of the greatest action series on television
How about
ever.
the Punisher? The Punisher.
The fighting on it alone was just phenomenal.
If you,
They introduced so many characters
before I ask you guys
on
my
Night
question.
Nurse, all of that stuff, man. Luke Cage. The only one that was a flop was really the karate dude.
the Iron Fist, right?
Yeah, he's a terrible actor, terrible written show.
Yeah. Okay. So Star Wars was bought by Disney on October 30th, 2012, for about 4.5 billion.
Yeah, it was like 4. Yeah,
It's like a little.
I thought it was earlier than that. So
I think it was like
okay, so it's much
$57 a
earlier.
share.
Yeah. So
Yeah, when did they buy Marvel?
Marvel, I said a minute ago.
Yeah, I think you said
2012.
2012. Yeah.
No, that's Lucasfilms.
No, 2012. It was 2009. It was like
2009. Okay, 2009.
what is it? 4 years difference.
Mhm.
Now
So it was Marvel first, and
Yeah. Let me
It
ask
was
you this
Marvel
question
first?
here.
Yes.
This is the one I'm gonna throw a kicker on you guys. Punisher, a good example. Punisher, the movie, the original movie I'm talking about with I can't
Dolph
remember this guy.
Lundgren.
I'm sorry.
You talk about the Dolph Lundgren movie.
I believe so. The first.
The
that's
guilty
the original
must-
one. There was
the
a
guilty
second.
must be punished.
There was
not He-Man.
no. There was Dolph Lundgren, and then there was the guy. There was another one.
It was Thomas Jane.
2004 came out.
There was a Thomas
Jane.
Jane,
That's the
but
one
there's
I'm
a
talking
third
about.
one. There's a third one that came out.
I'm not counting that. We don't talk about that in the show. You're not allowed to talk about it. I'm going to ban you.
Right.
That's how bad
All
it
right.
was.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
so
Can't remember what the guy's name is.
with Thomas
Neither.
James versus Netflix.
Oh no, there's no comparison.
The TV show.
I disagree.
The Netflix Punisher was just absolutely fantastic. Man.
I see what you're saying, Pete. As far as the character is concerned, I think you could make an argument that the movie was a little truer to when the Punisher is the Punisher being that guy. But I think as far as character development and fleshing out everything, I think the TV series did a great job with it. I don't like Berthenthal as an actor all that much.
Oh
So-
man, are you serious?
Yeah, he started on The Walking Dead. I didn't like him on The Walking Dead.
Dead?
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan of him. I don't know.
Man. I
wanna be.
It's preference. Okay.
Okay.
I want to be,
so-
but I'm just not.
So Kelly, here's where I'm gonna agree and disagree. I think both are 10s out of I think both are excellent movies, But excellent movie versus show. That's the key I was looking for, because the difference, because you only have a 2 hour, 3 hour window tops to get all this in, versus 5, 6, 7, 10 episodes to get all the information in. You can't really compare a movie versus show.
And yet, if you look at the Lord of the Rings versus the debacle that the Rings of Power are, right there, it proves that the movies can also be better than the TV series. It all comes down to writing and staying true to the character.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. How do you guys
call
feel
streaming
now?
stuff TV series? That's funny, but that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, this is the argument I've been having with a lot of people. They don't like, I have to watch the series to understand what's going on to the movie now. Opinions.
That's what, because quite frankly, I started when I saw.
To be honest with you, I think that was you who made that comment to me.
Yeah, it's like when I saw Doctor Strange 2, I was lost because I didn't see my daughter, she watched most of the WandaVision series. I was because I didn't even have a Disney subscription, and for me, I thought something was lost there when it's almost like it's too much of a thing. I'm used to like waiting, like the Avengers series, like especially after the one where everyone kind of got the snap, and it was like a cliffhanger,
right?
And I like the idea of having to wait and speculate of what the next movie was going to be until you got there. So I didn't need a lot of filler. It was like there was like an anticipation. Now it feels like a continuation more so than anticipation for like another film. Now again, business being business. They're going to try to squeeze as much juice out of these oranges as possible. But I think in certain cases, I think less is more. But then how do you keep the money coming in? Because you do have these streaming services and whatnot that are trying to get stuff from. But I got to be so involved. Whereas each one of the movies prior to the to Disney Plus coming on, it was self-contained. Like you didn't need to have all this back history and watch all this stuff to get caught up on whatever. I mean, if it was a series, then you go back. If it was Avengers, then you might have to go back and watch Iron Man or Captain America 1 or something like that to kind of stay in line. But I got to watch those, and I got to watch the Disney Plus stuff and any other thing that they go out. Like the whole multiverse thing exploded, in
Don't get me started with that.
Yeah, so that just with the Loki series and all that, it just got so convoluted that I'm going to the movies less informed because just with my schedule, I just don't have the time to be watching endless shows on Netflix or anything else. But I look forward to going to the movies as an experience in and of itself. But it feels like I'm going in to watch another TV show. Even the ads that don't talk about the ads, the 30 minutes of ads that they show you before the movie starts. But it feels like I'm sitting in a theater and I'm watching another television show just on the big screen.
But
it's interesting.
For Madness, you had to watch WandaVision to really get the.
I found that out later and had to go back. I actually did because I went and saw it twice.
How they transitioned to Scarlet Witch, by the way.
Yeah, but I found a nice primer, which is one thing good about you. Like these guys, they'll take the time. They'll do like a nice 50-minute. Yeah. It was like a 50-minute primer that gave you every angle and everything that you needed to know to go in. So when I saw it the second time with my daughter, I was a lot more informed. I enjoyed it a lot more. I didn't think it was as good as the first one, but I enjoyed it a lot more because I understood, again, what was going on. But I was totally clueless when I went in. That might have been the first Marvel movie that I had that experience in. It's probably worse now with everything else that they're producing.
What's interesting is Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, who's now come back. He quit when the pandemic happened. Then he came back after the pandemic. Smart guy. He made the comments that, trying to explain why the Marvels crashed and burned, trying to explain why She-Hulk, trying to explain all of these issues that they've had with these films and these series not being popular. Miss Marvel is another one. And he's saying, well, we think it's superhero fatigue, so we're going to cut back on our output of Marvel material. But that's the problem, because it's not superhero fatigue. It is poorly written superhero fatigue. That's the thing that hurts DC, because all of a sudden when you have a well-written movie like the latest Batman, you have a hit because it's well-written, it's well-produced and well-acted. Didn't matter that James Gordon is now black. Like the guy who plays him from Westworld, he's terrific. Like he's a good actor.
Is that Jeffrey Wright?
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright,
Yeah.
right. Like it
He's a
doesn't
great
matter.
actor. Yeah.
But you give a well-written, you didn't change where James Gordon came from. You didn't change his journey because now he's black. There's no agenda there. It's just let's give a black actor an opportunity to have a great role that we think he would be great in. You have a great film. The fatigue comes from when you have these poorly written, poorly acted, poor visual effects over and over again. People become apathetic. So what Iger has said is, well, we're wondering if people want to see, this is his quote, I'm paraphrasing, if they want to see the first movie and the second movie, but do they really want to see the third and fourth movie of a hero? Did they want to see the third movie of Spider-Man? Hell yeah, because it was well written. That's why they went to it. But if you're going to give us Thor 4, Thor 3, same writer director, just a different agenda. Thor 3 was very good. Ragnarok is a fun movie.
Ragnarok was one of the best.
And you got some great female characters. Valkyrie is a great female character, strong, but she's her own character. She's not somebody else's character. Thor you've changed him, but
But they went overboard with her by trying to make her king too. This is the kind of shit that pisses me off.
Yeah, that's it. So now you've got Iger saying, well, we're going to give you more newness. Everything's going to be new in the Marvel universe. Well, how well has that worked out for you since you got rid of Captain Marvel or Captain America, Tony Stark? How you don't have the rights to Spider-Man, and now you've got X-Men, and they haven't done anything with them yet, but hopefully there's a chance for them to come back. I don't know.
Well, don't forget, they're bringing Wolverine into Deadpool.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Groom. Go ahead.
During Deadpool, they're bringing back Wolverine. Not sure how they're bringing him in exactly, but he's back in his old school yellow and black. Was it the costume? But
what they're doing is that movie actually takes place 5 years before Logan. So they're saying Logan still, because Logan took place in 2029. So this movie takes place in 2024, 2025. And they're saying, okay, it's still part of the timeline. It all exists. And now that Disney owns 20th Century Fox, which is who brought you Deadpool. And X-Men. Yep. That's how they're putting that together.
Behind stages, behind closed door playing, whatever. I think they're working to buy Spider-Man somehow, some way. I think they are.
Yeah, they've always been, but Sony's being,
Sony would be out of their mind.
Right, they're not going to sell.
They've got movies for the next 10 years based upon the Sinister Six, all the villains. I mean, that's why you got Venom. But
they don't put Spider-Man in them, though.
No, they don't.
Not yet.
They don't.
And that's the whole basis for the character, right? And that whole, I didn't like certainly Spider-Man 3, his origin, or even this one, because why was Venom so much bigger and stronger than Spider-Man? It was because the original Brock was a bodybuilder. The guy was like 270 pounds, jacked up, and he went to that because he was depressed because he lost his job or whatever. So he just turned to the gym. He became this freak guy, and then he hooked up with the symbiote. That's why he was bigger. Now they had to rewrite all that and took that whole Spider-Man angle out of it to try to make it a standalone film.
Yeah, so Sony's not doing the best they could do with it either, but some of the X-Men movies were great, man. I thought the Days of Future Past was pretty damn good.
That was probably their best one, I thought.
I thought First Class, I think, did it for me.
Yeah,
First Class
that was
great.
The one I did not like was X-Men 3.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Last Stand, a lot of people don't like.
Not X2 is X-Men United, but the third one, that wasn't.
X2, I actually liked a lot. I think they did a really good job.
X2 was very good. In fact, there's a lot of people who said the X2 at one point was the best superhero movie ever made. And before that, ironically, Spider-Man 2 was considered at that time one of the greatest superhero movies ever made.
Yeah, that was in my top 5. I think it may still be.
Yeah.
Well, I say like a lot of the twos were like better. So Superman 2, X-Men. I mean,
I like
Spider-Man
Superman
2. That was definitely in there for a while. So yeah, so a lot of those sequels were Winter Soldier, obviously. So there were definitely some good ones, some good sequels.
So
Freddy
right
Krueger
now,
2 was even a good movie. Even the scary movies was good. You had Jason, you had Michael Myers. They've been going on.
See that now? See that?
They just now trying to get rid of who was that? Jason.
That's again. You're squeezing the juice out again after 3. I don't care if it's Jason or Michael Myers or whoever it is. After 3 movies,
that's too much.
Now he's in space. Now he gets struck by lightning. Now he's invincible.
Hey man, the Fast and Furious is going to space now too.
Again, I can't do it. I just can't. There's certain franchises I can't stick with. Like I said, James Bond, whatever. But again, that's based on novelizations, right? I mean, that's all those books that who was the writer who wrote those books?
Ian Fleming.
So again, so you got plenty of stories you can write with that, and it's fresh. But especially with the fast movies where the stunts got so you're jumping over the Grand Canyon basically and landing the car and the suspension still works. I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Are you talking about
I will say this.
Fast and Furious bullshit now?
Oh yeah.
Or all the zombie movies.
Hang on a second. Before we move too forward, I got 2 things here. One, I just looked up the best movies ever made. Right now, Spider-Man is holding first place. Second place is Logan. Guys and Galaxy is third. Captain America is in 4th. Iron Man 1 is in 5th. Avengers, the first one, is in 6th. And I can keep going from there on. Mm-hmm. Agree or disagree, guys?
Disagree. Absolutely.
Of course you have something fucking to say,
none
asshole.
of us are going to agree. We're not going to agree with that list. None of us are going to have the same list.
Yeah. Logan I go back and forth with. It wasn't like a, I don't know. It was just the melancholy nature of the film really just it was just it was like someone just had like the low note on the key and it just played that for the whole film. I was like, man, there was no joy in
no hero.
No.
So I have a question from wife in the comments saying, what about the Eternals? Is Zen Black Man?
Horrible.
First of all, Eternals was one of the worst movies ever made, in my opinion.
It's horrible.
So
Marvel's
if you watch
is
that,
worse.
you should just draw your eyes out. Kelly, go ahead. I see you. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
No, it's one of the things that I pride myself on is making sure that I understand what a film is all about. And I have purposely not watched the Eternals. I've read every bit of the reviews in regards to it. I don't have enough time in my day to waste it. And by that point, Marvel had already been burning my goodwill. And so, I liked WandaVision a lot. Hawkeye bored me. Some of the other shows, I liked Loki. I thought Loki was really good. I didn't watch Loki 2 because once again, that goodwill has just shrunk to the point where I just don't have time to watch Marvel stuff anymore. I'll go see a good, a well-reviewed movie, but I'm just not consuming it all anymore. So
So if you finish Loki, I mean, Eternals was just a horrible movie. Even though some of the actors and actresses individually I liked, but it was just pure. They might have well called it Eternals DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's what they should have called it. Said, listen, if I was going to write a law, that's what I would have called that and said, this is our poster child and make sure we want to include everybody into this so everybody could be included. So the movie was just horrible. In the backdrop of all the good movies that Marvel made, it was one of the worst. And, I try to be fair. If you show me something that's good, that like a lot of people didn't like WandaVision because Marvel was already going down the path of destruction. But I thought WandaVision was very, very
That was their first series. That was their first series. And a lot of people didn't like it because of how it tried to tell the story. I thought it was very clever. I mean,
the story was the greatest thing. I mean,
and I thought the whole TV series thing started to wear out at the end of, I don't know if it was the second or third episode. I was just like, okay, We get it. Let's move on. But aside from that, I thought it was well done.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I
So-
just like the fact that how she came into her power with the recognition of who she was.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really, really good. I didn't know what they were going to do with it in the daggone Doctor Strange movie because I didn't like making her a villain. But the way they did, they have to somehow they have to bring her back into the fold. She's very powerful, you know. But and so I thought that was good, you know. So I don't have this problem with just with women being the showcase because I thought that was well written. But the Eternals was just a bad movie. I'm just telling you, there's just no redemption, and I think that was one of the things that just kind of put the boom Marvel Union, you're done. And so the Marvels was horrible. This Miss Webb, I don't think that was Marvel, but you know Sony, whatever they put out, it was just horrible. I mean, it just
Madam
ruined
Web,
it.
yeah.
Everything.
So,
Let me just-
hey guys, so information with you, Penny, so you don't know. Madam Web, nobody fucking wanted it. That's my case.
Yeah. That was pretty
Now,
bad.
my pushback with you, Kelly, is with Loki, I didn't like it. It was too boring,
Me,
in my opinion.
I didn't like Loki either. No,
I'm like, I'm still going to watch it because I want to know what's going on with the story because I'm a huge Avengers fan. But I did not like it. I'm not going to lie to you.
What didn't you like about it?
I think it was boring.
they had some moments, but that wasn't Loki. That wasn't the Loki from Avengers.
Well, no,
That's my point.
and it wasn't. It was and it wasn't, right? Because that's the Loki who takes the Tesseract in the middle of Endgame and disappears. It's not the same Loki. And they try to explain that away. You know, he watches all the things that ever happened to him, and he learns and he grows from that. But from the moment he steals that, you're right. It's not the same Loki. I guess for me, it was the thing that I hated the least that I had seen up to that point. You know,
I'm with you.
I mean, I liked WandaVision, but I liked Loki better than WandaVision because I like the character. I like the character better, and
They had some good moments. They had some good moments. I got to admit that, but I just was disappointed.
Yeah,
that's all.
Hey, just a throwback, guys. What did you guys think? Again, we're talking about bad ones, right? And again, I'm not even talking about before the MCU. I thought the Fantastic Four, even before the one we were talking about earlier, but the early movies, the one that came out in 2005 and 2007 with Silver Surfer, I thought that was bad.
Yes,
I mean, the fact that you make Galactus basically a cloud essentially, and they never really explore that. You know what I mean? So I think there was just a lot of bad. You know, now they're supposed to be doing another reboot that's supposed to be coming out in 2025.
Yeah, they're gonna make Galactus a woman. They're gonna make Galactus a woman.
I mean, it's
is that true? Is that true? I believe
that's
it.
What I heard.
I don't know.
See, we don't even know if that's a joke or not because that's just that's the world.
Okay, so time out 1 second here.
Woman.
So originally,
she's gonna be telling the Silver Surfer, "You my butt boy now, Silver Surfer." You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna clip that. I'm gonna clip that.
I'm just getting myself prepared. I'm just getting prepared for it. You know, that's all.
Although I must say that last Fantastic Four didn't do too bad. It was about $100 million budget, but it grossed $333 million worldwide.
I think it was horrible.
Yeah, well, that's momentum.
It was, but I'm just saying, but it didn't lose money.
But here's the thing: here, I would take the original Fantastic Four over that garbage.
I'd agree with that. I'll take the original over the remake.
I don't know. I thought it was a little. It was campy, but I you know, again, when they were going to go to Silver Surfer, because actually, just real. Silver Surfer is actually one of my favorite characters back growing up.
I love the Silver Surfer.
I love the Silver Surfer. I mean,
God.
And I thought they were really going to really flesh that out, and it didn't happen. I thought the actor who played him, I thought they got the right guy, but the whole thing with Galactus and the whole, you know, I thought they ruined it.
So here's a little pushback with you, Paul.
Can I tell you one of my Silver Surfer stories before you go grooming? Just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
There was a comic with Thor and the Silver Surfer and the Destroyer. The Destroyer almost killed Thor. Silver Surfer brought Thor back to life, and in the next 5 pages, he beat the shit out of the Destroyer. I mean, I wish I could remember the number and the year, and I would buy it probably for maybe $100-something if I could find it. He brings Thor back to life because it was an inch of life left. And then he went and commenced to beat the crap out of the Destroyer. hands down. I said, man, the Silver Surfer is just a bad dude.
Okay,
man.
Payne,
Oh
I can
my
help you
God.
there. I can help you there a little bit. Look up Pop Culture Warrior. He's a buddy of mine, really good guy. All right, he knows everything about comic books. I mean it. You think Kelly's good? No offense, Kelly, but he's 10 times up there.
None
So
taken.
look him up.
No-
I'll email you his name. Pop Culture Warrior, great guy.
Okay.
Now, my pushback with you, Paul, with the movie Surfer, the way they were supposed to end it, they were supposed to pick up on the third one and then show Galaxis, but it was canceled because how bad it was. They did that on purpose to have it like a cliffhanger. So we do have a question in comics from Kelly. Do you guys like Jonathan Mangos? I might pronounce that wrong. From Kane the Conqueror will be replaced.
Oh, Jonathan Majors. Yeah.
Jonathan Majors. Yeah.
It's not the actor. I mean, look, I thought it was terrible.
Oh my God.
All of them?
know,
Like the first one? All of them?
No, Ant-Man 3, Quantum.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
I didn't see
I
that
thought it
one.
was.
The first two I think was
love
good.
the first two. I thought the third one was terrible. I just once again, Jonathan Majors is not the problem, and he's also in the Loki series.
Yes.
It's the writing, right? And I'm sorry, Kang the Conqueror he hasn't been written to be the threat that Thanos was. And now with all of his legal problems, they're going to say, well, we're dropping him anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's a well-written character at all. The actor's fine.
But let me put it to you this way. Kang the Conqueror was supposed to be Thanos-like, but in every movie he's in there, he's getting his ass kicked. He got killed by the chick. He got his ass. I mean, even in Ant-Man, if Ant-Man beats you in the goddamn, how could you be all powerful? You get your ass
And it wasn't even Ant-Man. It was Ant-Man's daughter.
That's right.
Of course.
I said, wait a minute.
It was the daughter.
Kang the Conqueror, and the first movies they introduced him to, let's just say Jonathan Majors wasn't stupid enough to get hung up with this chick, right? If he would have came back, they already showed in Loki he was getting his ass kicked. In his own movie, I mean, how was he going to be this all-conquering dude if every time we saw him on a damn screen, he's getting his ass kicked? I mean, what the hell are you talking about? He's conquering who?
I mean, if they were
That's
smart,
part of the writing,
would-
the agenda. That's the agenda, the writing. He has nothing to do with that. He's getting paid to play the
Well,
role.
I'm talking about not the actor, but the character itself.
Yeah, the character. Yes, that's the part of the writing. The writers write the character. So
Yeah, you're right.
yeah, I think that when you look at it, unfortunately, Sony owns the rights. I believe they still own the rights, even though Disney got X-Men. I don't think that they own all of the rights. Maybe it's not the movie rights, some of the rights to Doctor Doom. So if you want to have a great character, like if you're going to bring in the X-Men and you're going to bring in Fantastic Four, you bring with them Doctor Doom to be the next big bad guy, right? But Doctor Doom is wrapped up in Sony.
Right. But do you think, as far as the casting now, again, Thanos, I thought was a great character, even though he was a CGI character.
Oh, it's great. You can't do it better.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, who are you going to cast, or do you think Doom has to be some sort of CGI? Got to really, because again, we talked about this earlier. Writing's important, casting's also important. So who would you go for?
He's behind a mask most of the time, right?
Yeah,
well, again, if you want to tell his origin story or whatnot, you have to.
He has to be a man at some point.
At some point, right? He's the king of Latvia, whatever the place he's over. So he kind of has that reign, and then he's in the mask from then on. But you got to be able to sell. You got to be able to.
You got to have a character. You have to have an actor who can.
Technology's there,
got
Mr.
gravitas.
The technology's there now. The technology's to do it. We can make him look. The technology's there to make him look as lifelike.
But again, the acting, who you cast is pivotal. It's
you got any suggestions? Who you got? Who you got to suggest?
Okay, we have
I think it's a great point though that Kang's been beat up and everything. Every time he shows up, why would anybody be afraid of him?
Right. Now I know.
This is why I differ as far as going into the future of writing and acting and everything. It's a small group of guys. I think it'll be better storytelling, better fluidity if the acting pool continues to evolve.
Okay.
You know, I don't like seeing old Tom Cruise hanging off the helicopter.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you.
it's just, but
Thank
that's
you.
where, and this is where the dynamics of America could really explode to me and be great. You just have to be more inclusive in all of the characters as far as race concerned, but give that good story. It has to be more inclusive because you want to get people watching the movie, and people are more in tune to watch a movie or a clip now than a movie. So a movie has to be sort of motivational in a sense. I think it'll get bigger results if whoever the character is, if they play that damn role like a hell of an actor, and they give the audience far as the excitement and the overcoming of an obstacle and something bright where it's a life saved. Maybe if you had to take out the bad guy, you know what I'm saying, show that little thriller part, but in the end, the person who's sort of like supposed to be the shining light for the human race, is make it more diverse. I think it'll
Well,
be
I agree and
I'm serious. It
disagree.
has to be
And
diverse. I'm telling you, it'll be an even great
well,
because
I think
everything's
you're
going to be
correct.
streaming now.
Well,
Everything's coming in
I
the
don't think
streaming.
there's
I
any.
agree and disagree with you. The diversity I agree with as long as it fits the storyline.
Yeah.
But if you're forcing characters to appease a certain crowd, I
No,
disagree.
it ain't. No. I ain't talking about no specific character. Some movies, yes, they need that experienced actor, but some movies, when it's sort of like an action-packed and sci-fi, you can plug in anybody in those movies and make it more plausible. See, we old heads, but for even the younger generation, they have a different vision.
No, it has nothing to
Tell
do
me.
with us being old heads. Like, for example,
But we talk.
well, let me just say this because you said we're old heads. It has nothing to do with my age. When they did
But
Shawshank
I disagree.
Redemption and when they put Morgan Freeman as Red, that's the kind of shit I could agree with.
yeah,
Because
because he's in that actor.
but if they force a person just for diversity's sake, I disagree with that.
No, but the actor has to be the actor specific for that part. But what I'm saying, it's more than the same few of heroes. Is all I'm saying. It's you know even I don't mind the series going 4 and 5 and 6 characters. I mean movies in, but at some point, we all know that 50-year-old can't really do the stunts and things that a
No, I agree with that, but
30-year-old.
that has nothing to do with diversity of color. That has to do with
But
age.
but even with the diversity of color,
I hear what you're
but
saying, and I think there's a lot of truth in what you're saying. Take a look at what has been successful you just look at race, right?
yes,
The action standpoint. Look, who would have figured that Equalizer 3 would have made as much money as it did? It's a decent series. Is it the greatest series? No.
yes,
But
it's nice.
but the black community doesn't have much to go see with that face, right? Denzel Washington. You take a look at the Creed show, right? You got Creed. Creed is a very popular movie series because you're right. There's not enough diversity in action. There's not enough diversity for the amount of consumption that there is out there. Black Panther proved that. But what has Creed got? You got a director who knows how to freaking write. And what did you get? What'd you get with Denzel Washington? You got a really intelligent actor who knows good scripts.
Yes.
I mean, have you ever seen Denzel Washington in something you're like, oh, how did you wind up in this movie? You never did.
You have a really good point there, Kelly. A very, very good point. I have never seen him do one bad movie.
Points, but I don't know if we're just talking about that. But how many people are watching Queen Latifah as the Equalizer?
Yeah, that's
well.
But again, it's the same. It's the same thing with Denzel. So what? So you got a 40-year-old, you got a 40-year-old, 200-pound woman, or you got a 70-year-old guy who's going in there and again just beating the crap out of everybody.
All right, hang on. I got to put this comment up here.
It suspends belief at some point.
All right, we have a comment in the chat.
But that's why we bringing a new character.
Hang on. What about seeing more of Darkseid from the Justice League movies?
I hate to disappoint you with Wife School, but again, the whole thing is done with the DC. They're gonna have to reboot the entire thing, which is
They
unfortunate.
are.
I know where this might be a pivot a little bit, and I don't know if we want to spend a little time. But what happened to DC had some nice individual movies. I loved Man of Steel. I
Yeah.
liked Batman v Superman. Didn't love it, but I liked it. I loved Aquaman, the first one. The second one was trash. I hated it. Right? Wonder Woman 1, I thought was a good one. But now the Justice League, now again, the director's cut, the 4-hour one that they released during the pandemic on HBO Max,
sucked.
that was a totally different movie. They really, I'm sorry, they, the direction much better than the first one, much better. And what I really thought was what I was really hopeful of that really shocked me was I liked Black Adam. And the end when Superman makes an appearance at the end of Black Adam, I'm like, okay. I thought that was going to be the reboot. Okay, so you got The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, he's going to be in the mix. You rewrite some things, and he's going to be the main antagonist going forward in future Justice League movies. I was like, okay, they're writing the ship here. And then like less than a week after the movie, that's like they scrapped the whole franchise.
So Paul, let me jump here really fast.
They had these movies, but I just don't know what some of those they missed something in the ingredients, the secret sauce or whatever. I don't know what it is, but something didn't land, even though they had some hits, but they couldn't pull it together.
You know that the DCEU is done, and now there's the DCU, and that is being run by James Gunn, who created the Guardians of the Galaxy. DC tapped him to run DC Studios now.
Right.
And so he's starting all over. And the first event is a animated film, Creature Commandos is what it's called. And then the next thing is Superman. And he's writing and directing Superman himself. And then you're going to get a Batman movie called Brave and the Bold, which trust me when I am a huge Batman fan. And I can't stand the decision that they're making with this, but that's for another time. So you're going to see that ship. It's designed that print, TV, and animation, all those characters are interchangeable in the movies. That's his design at this point. So yet to see if it works out, but at least there's new leadership in DC.
Okay, let me jump here for a second, Kelly. So with DC, they try to play catch up, and they went way too fast, too hard. They're trying to catch up, and they crashed. Now with Black Adam, I'm surprised they did better than they did. I liked it.
I did.
But the
Black Adam. I'm sorry.
Hang on a second, Kelly. 1 second. I'll give you the floor in 1 second. So Rock pushed and pushed and pushed. He wasn't giving up. He wanted this movie so bad, and he finally got it. And people said this is what he was raving about. I think it was good, personally. But some people didn't like it. Could have been better? Yes, it could have been a lot better. I'll give him that. It wasn't a 10 out of 10. I'll give it a 6 or a 7. Nothing more than that.
Right.
Kelly, floor is yours.
I thought using the JLA as the superhero team, because like half those characters they weren't irrelevant. Like it was that Atomic Smasher I thought some of the, Hawkman, I didn't mind having Hawkman and the guy with the mask on and whatnot. I didn't mind that per se, but just a lot of those guys is like, why are you in the film? So I thought maybe they could have went with another team to try to go at them. But but overall, I like I said, but the ending, I was thinking maybe again, maybe a 6. When I saw the Superman shot at the end, I was like, okay, this is 7. Okay, they're going somewhere here. And I was really looking forward to it, especially even the costume, right? The Superman costume, they say it was a little, the colors were muted in Man of Steel. He came out with the bright Superman costume. He had the curly back in his hair. They put the curl in his hair at the end. It's like, okay, yeah, you guys are writing the ship.
But I liked it because of the actual the real world ramifications that so-called good people will let disasters go on because of political bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was, even though that was a subtle kind of message, they were coming after him, and he was trying to right a wrong in that land, and they kind of glossed over it because that wasn't the purpose of the movie per se. But that's how the world really works. People let atrocities go on because the people who are committing the atrocities might be in favor of one power or the other.
Right.
That's just real world shit, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll listen to that.
Yeah, that's sister from
we're
the
coming out, closing up right now. So
yeah.
I want to give you guys one more round. Final thoughts before I go. Kelly, we definitely need to get you on here a lot more. You gotta give me your schedule. Tell your wife I'm taking you away from her for on Saturdays. She likes it. You could pay her. I don't care what you do. So we gotta get you on here. Now that I know
he could pay her, not you. He could pay her, right there. It's funny.
Yeah.
Listen, I talked to our boss. Give you a little raise, like maybe 20 cents would be good enough. And
okay.
But let me ask my panel. Do you think Kelly should come out more often on here?
Oh yeah, love that.
Of course.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Listen, it's a lot of fun, guys. It really is. The main thing is it sounds crazy. I work every other weekend, so that's out. But on my open weekends, I'm almost always working on a film project of some sort. So,
so what we're gonna do,
private,
Kelly,
private stuff. But
one of these days, or when we're on lunch break, we're gonna have to figure schedules out, so we'll get you on here more.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
all right, Kelly, you're first. Final thoughts. Go for it. Close out. You have the floor.
Real simple. If you're going to abandon character for agenda, you're gonna fail, and I hope you do. And the Marvel's failing. I love that they failed. I love the fact that it failed. I love the fact that Indiana Jones failed. I love the fact that when you put your agenda before the character, that people don't want to see it. And there's tons of examples out there of doing it well. And I'm just going to put this one little plug in because, in particular, to the panel, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. But go back, start from the beginning. Rewatch the Mission Impossible movies. You get to 7 and watch 7 and tell me that this is not one of the best. I wasn't invested in Mission Impossible until I rewatched it recently to get ready for 7. I don't usually do that, but I just didn't remember the movies. Didn't realize how interconnected they were, how the standards don't drop. The action is great. The stories are great. You want secondary characters. You want great female characters. You want great black characters. They got them all. And the characters stay in the films. Go back and watch that and tell me what you think. I'd be really interested. But it all comes back to character.
All right, so now I haven't watched 7, so now I got to go back and watch it now. So
let me go real fast.
Really fast before
I love 7.
If you guys want to plug in anything, your private information, you won't be happy. Go to.
All right, so let me just go real quick. See, I agree with everything you said about the characters, and as far as Mission Impossible, I love that series. You're talking about the Tom Cruise series, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I tell you, but all of them. I was riveted in this last one as well. So it was great. So, he dropped off. But the point I'm trying to say is, so I agree with 100% on that. I've already made it clear as far as DEI, has no purpose in real good storytelling in movies. I don't need to see any specialized characters for making me to watch a movie. I don't care if it's all white cast or whatever, as long as it's good storytelling, and that's all I care about. I hate agendas in movies. It ruins it for me. It just does. And once I pick it up, once you start seeing agenda, you can't stop seeing it. That's my problem. I can't stop seeing it. That includes having misplaced black characters as well. That shit doesn't do anything for me. So, but I may be on the island by myself, but I don't need a black character to be happy with a movie. I just don't. So let me just land that there.
Before you guys go, Payne, I didn't forget about you. I still have to send you the list of products you need to use. And I actually have an idea for a video, for a beer video for both of us. So I'm going to email you probably today or tomorrow.
Yeah, you got my email. Just let me know. All
right. Paul, you're up, my man.
Okay.
Stop telling me my beard is all scraggly and shit.
I didn't say that.
I need some help. I
can make it better.
I need help. You need help with that scraggly beard. I appreciate that, Groovin. All right.
Can't trying to play a guy a compliment. They won't take it. Gosh.
Old people. What can you do?
I don't want to say I'm not a fan of agendas. It really all depends on what the agenda is. If you're talking about bringing good quality news stories that tell stories from different ethnic perspectives, a black perspective, an Asian perspective, a whatever the perspective is, as long as it's well thought out, it's well written, and it respects the intelligence of the audience, that's a good agenda. So I don't want to say, oh well, the agenda first. What is your purpose? To bring good content to people who certainly are consumers of the product. Yeah, I have no problem with that. So if you want to make specialized characters or whatnot, but again, you don't have to reinvent. You don't have to make historic characters something else. Although I do think it gets a little ridiculous when people argue over the Little Mermaid. Mermaids aren't even human, but because they've cast a black woman as a mermaid, people are freaking out over that. Okay, I think that's a tell of another sort that I don't necessarily appreciate. But I think the idea of trying to thrust the idea of these heroines out there that even the women don't need to see, I think is hopefully people will get the message, and it's up to the studios to say, okay, when is the investment that we're putting into getting these films just not worth it? And you could just show the balance sheet and say, look, these films that you're putting out, again, Madam Web or whatever it is, they're failing at the box office. Guys, people even looking at the trailers is like, no, I'm not going. So when are we going to get to when are the studios ultimately? Because I still think that their main agenda is money, whether in terms of who they cast or the audience that they're trying to go after, the market share they're trying to go after. They're trying to bring new and other audience groups that may not have been necessarily invested before into it. It's a money move primarily, more so than a social engineering move, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, it's about the brass tacks. And the brass tacks is, look, are these films making money or not? And if they're not, then you need to clear the slate. You get new leadership and be like, look, let's go back to what made us successful. Okay. Good stories, great action, great casting, and let those be the measures by which we operate as a studio. But at the end of the day, these guys are gonna have to, if you want to have this diversity and whatnot, it's gotta have to pay off at some point. We've seen how it does pay off in films like Black Panther. All right, but all the other projects that they're doing, I mean, someone's gonna have to just take an inventory and say, look, this works and what doesn't. Let's get back to seeing what's working. So that's my final point.
All right. Love that, Paul. I'll be honest with you, I love it 100%. The only thing I will add to it is nothing. Simple as that. But I do want to add one thing I want to bring to your attention. I mean, that buggy, don't keep bugging you. Now I'll put you on the spot. I want to do one video with you talking about your club or your brotherhood, about the bold, the beautiful, the fucking, in the beer community, we call it this. What is it? How's it go? Bearded, beautiful, and fucking beautiful. The 3 B's, we'll call it. But I want you to do a video on this, so we're going to put it on Thursday. A 10-minute video.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Trey, you're up.
Well, man, this is an interesting conversation. I think, with somebody that's actually been in the industry and actually made a living through it, and guys that have lived life and have stories and seen the beginning of all of these great series of heroes and novels, and even like I said, I'm even into a little bit of the scary movie type of writing. You know what I'm saying? The Freddy Krueger. Like I said, all that is cool with me. I think just as far as future, the way Americans changing, and he brought something to, I think, all of our minds, that the agenda and the character. If don't start mixing the agendas. Keep the agenda male character, female character. That's it. Don't start. If they start mixing the agenda, it's bad for, I think, the social construct of America. It's a lot of good writers. It's a lot of good writing. Bring out all the heroes. Just make it everybody teaming up, saving the world. That's all I'm saying. You know, it ain't a whole lot, but it makes a difference as far as what I like to watch. I like sci-fi movies. I like a good documentary. I like it all, man. I like a good nature series. Some, all of that, man. So just let the writing right. Just be fair and write good characters. The agenda, don't mix the agenda. It's always a male hero and a female heroes, but not mixing it. When they get to mixing it, it's over for TV. Stop watching it. Stop going to the movies because it's going to be nasty as hell. That's all I got, man. Thanks, Groveland, man.
Anytime. My opinion.
And just a side note. I made the comment earlier, but again, I don't know if you guys when you go to the movies, does it feel like a movie experience?
No.
Or does it feel like you're on a couch with your 85-inch TV watching? And how can they kind of get that? I know I use that as a reference for a reason.
I think the crowd makes a difference.
Totally. That's why for me, I can only go to a film the first weekend. If I don't get there by the second weekend, and if it's half empty, it totally loses. I might as well wait until it comes out on streaming or whatever. The audience makes a difference. That's why back in the day, we used to look forward to waiting in line. Remember, like when the movie theater, you had to wait in line when the Star Wars movies, when the re-releases came out in '97. We were waiting around the block all day long trying to get into the theater because that place was going to be packed. So we got upper deck, seats and all that kind of stuff. That's what makes it. But the fact that so many people, movie theaters are just, I'm surprised they're still open. I thought COVID would have just wiped out all the movie theaters because, very close. Again, everyone was getting content at home. So I don't know how they can kind of get that back.
Good movies. Hey, listen, Mr. Bennett, I saw First Aliens in the movie theater in New York City. It was packed, man. And all you could hear with the egg opening up, they didn't show no coming attractions, no nothing.
Right.
And when that thing popped out of the stomach, the movie theater was humming, man.
Yeah.
For the rest of the movie theater, the rest of the whole movie. It was just, you just felt the hum. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was just fantastic.
That's So, but opening weekend or pre-release, something like that. But definitely there's something about going into a movie theater but nobody in it is
you might as well be home.
It takes away from
So
I'm sorry. That was
right.
Y'all talking about when you used to be able to take a woman to the movies, man. So it's the construct where the movie and the dinner was a great date.
Yeah, but you weren't watching the movie, man. You
did both,
But there are some movies you remember the woman you took though.
Batman.
Yeah, both of you guys have good points actually. But seriously, writing is a dying art in my opinion. It's slowly dying art. They're running out of ideas because they've been doing this for so many years.
Well,
what else can you come up with?
Do
I think Disney is doing a bad job? No. Do I think they can do a lot better? Absolutely. I'm in the middle with them. 50-50. It's a hit and miss. But one thing I do miss is actually going to a movie theater and getting that wow factor. We don't have that anymore. That's gone. I remember I love going to see the previews, seeing, oh my God, that movie's coming out. Dude, did you see, that's coming out? We don't have that anymore. All these leaks, I don't think they're leaks. I think they do that on purpose. It's no shock factor anymore. That's gone. We need to go back to that. COVID streaming kind of killed it, but I like the streaming. I haven't gone to a movie theater in years before COVID. Wow. I think at least 5 years now, maybe more. Because not because of time. I can make time. I can wait and watch it for free. Why pay for it? I already pay for the streaming service. Most of them, half of them is free, half of them pay because of my phone bill. So that's I have some updates coming up. We are not. I don't have a date yet. We are going to be talking about the biggest fight that I think is coming around the corner. Paul, you know what I'm talking about, right?
You're not talking about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson.
Oh, God, I got to talk about it. I have to talk about it. And I'm bringing an expert.
What day is that? What day is that fight?
20 something. I came out was
real quick.
Yeah, Paul is my sport expert.
Hang
So,
on. Give me a second.
as he's
Go
looking
ahead,
up,
keep talking. Lou.
I am contacting somebody. I don't know if he said yes yet. Just keep it in mind. If I get a hold of him, he is
July 20th.
Okay. So my expert, he's a
Mike
professional
Tyson's gonna
fighter.
knock him
Actually,
out. Mike Tyson gonna knock him
I
out.
hope so.
you really think so?
Yes.
I'm gonna put $100 on it.
If they let Tyson fight him for real, Mike Tyson will knock him out. If they let Tyson loose, he gonna knock that boy out. He gonna hurt him. They right.
They have both two good things about him. One has a lot of experience. One has age. You can go either way. But let's hold our comments for that show. I'm not sure when I'm gonna do it. I have to talk to my boy who is an expert. He is a boxing coach, boxing champion, and boxing fighter. So he has all three. Except that tomorrow night we have, of course, the gray area. We are talking about the Black Wolf. Then I'm trying to think now. Okay, Wednesday. Wednesday's topic is very important to me. It means a lot, actually. How do men keep motivated? I do a thing called Motivation Monday. Hope you guys catch it. If you don't, that's fine. But this is a very important topic to me because how do we keep motivated? Simple. I don't have a topic for Saturday yet for next Saturday because I'm going back and forth. I want to see who's going to be on or not. So I'll be announcing that soon. Except that, Paul, any plugins?
No, I'm good. Looking forward to tomorrow night's show.
Yeah.
And thanks to you guys for tuning in, and so you're looking forward to more good content.
Before I forget, I am working on not one, but not two, but 3 guests for us coming up for Sunday's show.
Oh, what for future shows or tomorrow?
No, future show.
Okay, got it. Cool.
Yeah, I'm being a little busy. So,
okay.
The one I'll say out loud. I don't care. Hopefully he's watching. Maybe he will find. I'm trying to locate Prince Pravo's. I can't pronounce the name. Pravo. That's King Constantino II's son. So I am going to try to get him on the show. Like I said to you, I'm going to get him on. I have
good.
a little key that I forgot I can. I going to try to get him on. No promises. Except that this was the Hangout. I am Grooming Reviews, the Ghost of Sparta. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.
Take care, guys. It was fun.